The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to another round here of the Sunwest Construction Superspeedway Cup series here on LSRTV. Rachel Whiteford and Ted Manning joining you tonight up here in the booth with Francisco Scaramuzzo, as always, in the production trailer. Well, we've gone back in time tonight. It's 2007. What a wonderful time that was. We're back here at Daytona, of course, for the first time on a different track this season. And this is the retro layout iRacing has here, of course, and well, this is round number 2 of our regular season after the Daytona and Speed Weeks. And well, we're looking forward to a good one tonight. We have 90 laps of racing here today. This one could go by very quickly. Daytona 07 is either a complete wreckfest or surprisingly clean. And well, the cars are out on track finishing up with, well, they're doing their qualifying now, I believe, in fact, as time is elapsed for their 1 lap of qualifying. And Ted, well, the race is going to be an interesting one this evening.
Everything is certainly interesting when you come to a place like Daytona and Talladega, which is why the Superspeedway series is such a fun one to watch here on LSRTV. A lot of favorites out there, a lot of people who have been in the series for a long while and they know every nook and cranny of this track. However, talking about nook and crannies, the Circa 07 Daytona track is no tamed beast. It has lots of potholes, lots of divots. You bounce around a lot. It's going to be a very interesting night indeed.
Certainly is. Qualifying time's going on the board already. DeMerchant looking pretty quick so far, but pipped by Berger and the others at the moment as time start to really fly in here and get interesting. So this could be a very interesting race for this evening. We'll have to see what times come in from our usual front runners. Of course, waiting for a time from the likes of Rod. I've just forgotten his name. And that's, my brain is doing one of those things here, Ted, where you know exactly what name you're going for, but for some reason, as you fill in time so you can remember it, Rodney Wofford will probably set a pole time. He's usually up there.
With the Superspeedway series, the Sunwest Construction Superspeedway Cup series, we're going to look at the points real quick. So far, we got in first and second place, respectively, Mark Jorgensen Jr. and Glenn Hedrick, both with wins, both make the playoffs if they can stay within the top 25 of points. In third place is Rodney Wofford with 77 points, 6 points behind him, Seth DeMerchant. Then you got Andrew Berger rounding up the top 5 in points right now, 7 points behind.
Certainly is, and that's going to be an interesting one for how this one plays out. Of course, Rod Flagg, Spencer Preet, Scott Warren, Lucas Cram, rewritten out as second there in 10th, with Jake Champion and Michael Koza Jr. currently above your playoffs cut line for now. But of course, we're 2 rounds in. This playoffs cut line means very little to us at the moment, and I'm sure we'll see this one change throughout the duration of our season. Currently just below that line, Brandon Kuzmancevice, Frank Basilia III, and Gary Champion just outside that line there in 13th place. But we expect to see that one change, of course. And as you know, this series, of course, is brought to you by Sunwest Construction. It was founded in 1986 and has grown into the premier construction and development company on the west coast of Florida. Over the past 30 years, they've built and developed over 17,000 condominium units and now specialize in mid-high-rise developments as well as commercial buildings and hotels alongside Marriott and Hampton Inns. Well, on-track qualifying is just wrapping up here for round number 3 here of our season after Daytona, of course, and Talladega. And look at that, Ted. Rodney Wofford puts it on pole by 7 thousandths of a second over Mark Jorgensen Jr. Same front row as last week.
These two impress every single week, and they will continue to impress as the season goes on. We're going to look for a really good show from both Rodney Wofford and Mark Jorgensen tonight. Michael Cozy Jr., he came in 49.330. Rod Flagg starting 4th in that second row. Andrew Berger, Seth DeMerchant, all of these names that you know. One name back there, you got Dana Osborne rounding out up there in 10th place. Awesome run by them. Great times tonight. Everybody's just really fast.
Yeah, they absolutely are, of course. And as usual, qualifying a tight affair here in the Superspeedway Cup. But, wow, we know these results very rarely last past the first couple of laps here. And we'll see the cars head to that grid. And, in fact, we'll run through your starting order in just a few seconds' time. But, Ted, before we do that, before we look at our starting grid for tonight's race, 07, what's the challenges here?
Challenges here is, like I mentioned before, this was before, right, we're back in time now. This is before they repaved Daytona International Speedway. And with the repavement of this speedway, it took away a lot of the divots. That huge bump going into turn 4, which, you know, made the track synonymous with the term the tricky turn 4 or the treacherous turn 4. Everybody was worried about it because you had that huge dip as you go into that corner and it gets your wheel all squirrely. And so that's going to be a huge issue for a lot of these drivers, even though they've raced this track so many times, because when you're running in these packs 2, 3, 4 wide, especially in turn 4, you're bouncing all over the place. And so these guys are going to have to really keep their mental toughness up and alert to be able to stay on top of it, and hopefully they can avoid the big one tonight. But that's definitely going to be something that they have to look forward to tonight, are all of these bumps, nooks, and crannies throughout this entire track.
Certainly will, and without further ado, we're going to go to your starting grid for tonight's race. The cars are about to pull off pit road. Rodney Warford, as mentioned, locks out the pole position tonight, 49.321. Yep, he'll be counting down to the blue flag in just a few moments' time, hopefully in that order. Mark Johnson Jr. joins me on the outside row with Michael Cozy Jr. in 3rd, Rod Flagg in 4th place, and Andrew Berger in 5th.
Starting 6th, Seth DeMerchant. 7th, Scott Warren. 8th, you got Ray Rittenor 2nd. 9th, Chris Bassini. And rounding out the top 10, Dana Osborne.
P11 tonight is Jason Altmans with Frank Whistler in 3rd, Joseph Youngkins, Chris Patton, and Gary Champion in 15th place.
16th, Glenn Hedrick. 17th, Spencer Preet. 18th, Ricky Wall. Justin Levine starting 19th. And rounding out your top 20, Lucas Graham.
Absolutely on the outside of row number 10 there. Dan Harrington with Mike Field, Sean McCarrick, Travis Brown, and Austin Cooper in 25th place.
Corey Smith starting 26th. 27th is Ramon Evans. TJ Bach back there 28th. Kyle Manger 29th. And in 30th place, starting tonight, Robbie Lyons.
31st, Richard Reagan Jr. Bentley Glasser back in 36th place. Oh, that's weird. It's showing 36th place for some reason. 32nd is Jake Champion with Harry Tiller, Daniel Holloway, and Joey Piccolella in 35th. And apparently Bentley Glasser in 36th, but that timing must be a little bit on the balked side. Anyway, about to start the race and we're heading up the backstretch here, but one little bit of information for you is quite interesting. Rod Flagg there up in the 4th spot. Did you know, Ted, that Rod Flagg is actually about to be entering a 6-car team in RSR? Yeah, 6 new cars, a super team joining RSR, which will certainly spice things up, and we might have a challenger for ages.
Wow, absolute game changer. You have these super teams forming in sports like in basketball. You got all the super teams forming with Golden State Warriors and the like, and now you got super teams in these esports and iRacing. Absolutely wild.
Certainly is, and coming through 3 and 4 now. We're about to get ready to start this one tonight, and time travel racing here at Daytona circa 2007. Well, the cars are brand new, up to brand new 2018 spec, apart from the bodies on the Chevys. And we're about to go racing, old school style here at Daytona. Pace car makes that long left-hand turn to pit road. Field under the command of Ronnie Wofford, the green flag flies. We are racing here at Daytona, and Michael Cozy Jr. with a big jump off the line there pushes Rodney Wofford off the start line. Gets him a good jump over Jorgensen Jr. and Flag on the outside with DeMerchant behind them, and top group really broke away there. Our top 10 or so back to 97 of Jason Altman's really broke that front group up. They've pushed on much faster than everybody else, but as it stands, even that's starting to spread apart now as this bumpy track already showing these guys they can't run quite as hard or as close as before, as they're actually 3 wide there with Flag on the outside. He had a bit of a problem, it seems.
Yeah, a little bit of a problem. He seemed to disappear there for a second, and boom, out there on the outside is now he has lost the line and is falling all the way back to almost, he's going to be passing Rick Wallace. It looks like he might have hit the wall. Nope, still 3 wide back there. But up there in the front, Rodney Wolford in that black number 3 car taking the lead as that outside line is starting to lose a little bit of steam after Rod Flag fell back.
Did indeed, and the outside line has some very strong cars up there, of course. They've got the likes of Jorgensen Jr., Sefton Merchant, we have Ray Rittenau second, 8 Machine Osborne, and the 94 of Brasilia the third. So they're a very strong line up there. I think they also have Gary Champion in the 18. And look at this one, big move there by Cozy Jr. to the outside, but Jorgensen Jr. pushes him up out of the way after that cheeky move up in front of him. Plus it's 3 wide for the lead, and 3 wide on Daytona 07 is a lot more challenging than normally. Cozy Jr. has paid for that little cheeky move as up he goes, and Jorgensen Jr. had the gap. He forced his nose in there and he made it work. Cozy drops back in line ahead of Brasilia the third. Nat McDonald's livery on that car for him. Jorgensen Jr. clear as they'll come through the into turn 1, sorry. Doesn't drop down there, staying with the Merchant so far.
Jorgensen was having none of that. His car was on the move and he wanted to get up to the front. He dipped his nose right there in the middle. That was a radical move by Jorgensen, but it ended up working out. Great racing by everybody involved, keeping it together and not giving us a big one in the opening laps of this Daytona race. But it paid off for everybody. Number 77, he ended up dropping right back into line, so he didn't lose too many spots, and I bet he's biting at the teeth to try to get back up there to the front and pay Jorgensen back by taking first away. But Jorgensen holding that steady lead with the number 7 Merchant right behind him, pushing him. But Wolford, I don't think he's going to give it up too easily. He's going to try to fight back up there to the front soon.
That's one of those weird quirks, of course, Ted, with the Daytona 07, is that the middle line is actually the preferred line. You'll often see later in this race, people prefer to be up there when they're in this sort of situation, and the low side's a little bit bumpier in the corner, so the mid lane actually has a far easier time of this, which is why you're seeing them staying so strong and relevant at the moment, nearly pulling the 87 out front with them, as it's a 2-car lead there ahead of Wofford on the low side. Everyone on the low side staying a little bit further apart than the top side were, as they just keep pulling ahead, and they're not thinking of dropping down, because to them, smoother racetrack, easier race.
Gary Chapman, he's all the way back there in the, it looks like the 13th position. He's at the head of that second group, and if he doesn't try to link up there and they start working together, they might lose that lead pack of cars led by Jorgensen and Wofford. As that's just a strong pack. They're all working together. They're all moving together pretty easily. Whoa, the number 1 car there just got bumped down below the yellow line. That's Chris Bassini. He got bumped down. He's off. He's off the pace, so I don't know. There might be an issue right there.
We'll have to have a look at what's going on there with Chris Bassini, the 1 car. He's losing speed here. Bassini actually dropping his speed there considerably below what he normally would operate as he rejoins the racetrack. Not as though he's trying to... Got a replay for you there as he drops down on the backstretch and runs the actual infield there on the 3 and 4 line, just right to the back of your field. Not sure what he's seen or expecting, but he's lost a lot of time. It's not as though he dropped back to stay in a rear further back pack, Ted. He's just completely dropped off this field. I'm not sure if he had a problem or something, but hopefully it's been rectified now.
Yeah, he dropped totally off the pace. I don't know if he got, I was looking at him, and I don't know if he just got bumped and got knocked below the line, but he just slowed down a considerable amount. Another person that has also dropped off.
Problems. Oh, Wofford. Yeah, Rodney Wofford's had a problem. He was up there leading the way for most of this thing, and Rodney Wofford has also dropped down, lowered his speed, and we know he's had a connection issue, I believe, for Rodney Wofford, which explains a lot there, but he had another issue in this race, and they dropped back very much before he lost connection there, so things been a little spooky tonight on the racetrack here as look at the backstretch toward our leaders. Single file up on the high side here. Everyone running that middle groove almost. It's no challenge on the low side as 97 gets low under the 94 McDonald's machine. Front group staying in the middle of the racetrack where it's just that little bit smoother.
Yeah, that was weird. I looked up to the front where Jorgensen was, and Wofford wasn't there anymore. And I mean, after the number 1 dropped out and started falling back into pace, everybody's line just kind of got messed up, and it went down to single file, Jorgensen leading the pack. Now the number 77, he makes a move down to the inside. Michael Cozy, he's bringing the number 8 with them. Osborne, 97, will get in there as well. Riot, he'll jump down and try to make the bottom line work, and it looks like it may be working as they're catching up there on Jorgensen as they head down the backstretch.
Yeah, they certainly are, of course. Rodney Wolf is locked in already, so missing the race is not the end of the game for him. You can see stay in the top 25 in points, and he is golden for this, so problems for him, but not what he wanted to have happen, of course, in a race. He likes to succeed at these things, as Cozy Jr. leading a big charge on the low side there with the Osborne and Altmans. And also, I think that's the 87 machine back there as well, so these guys pushing forward. 97's Jason Altmans, of course. Not Jay Riot, that's just his iRacing name, but 88 on top. Still got some good speed going, but look at this push by Cozy Jr. Cozy, Ted, has really been a breakout driver last season, showing some serious strength and competitiveness this season. He's going to be a future champion in this series. I almost have an insight. I think he's going to be one of our future champions at some point.
Well, that future champion is now jumping to the lead with the help of number 8 Osborne, as he has now a sizable lead over Jorgensen and will take that lead away. That bottom line is really working. Cozy really knew how to work that line as number 8 now jumps up in front of Jorgensen, throws the block, and now he goes for the lead. What a move by Osborne.
Oh, a big move there by Denner Osborne as he gets into a brilliant position here in this one, but how long will that last? That'll be an interesting one to see, as Jorgensen Jr. doesn't really suffer people sneaking their way past him, so we'll have to see how he plays that one. He's looking for a gap again. Going to try and hang Osborne out to dry if possible. But of course wants to stay in that middle groove, which is the more tame groove around this very difficult racetrack. So we'll have to keep our eyes on how that one plays out. Osborne kind of not got the same speed up front as Jorgensen Jr. had up there. That top line is starting to stall a little bit.
10 laps down, 10 laps in the books. Cozy making that bottom line work with the help of number 97. That would be that Altman's, not Jay Riot. So pardon me for earlier messing that up. Osborne now jumped down to the bottom line. He'll block Cozy. That was a radical move. Cozy's all over his back bumper trying to get him out of the way. But Osborne, he's got that lead and he wants it. He wants to remain there for this race.
Yeah, he really does. He wants to be in a position here where he can dictate terms in this race, as we're now about halfway through our first fuel cycle. And this race, like I said, has two speeds tag. Either we're crashing every 2 minutes because they're trying to draft like it's in modern Daytona, or this thing stays green because they're being patient. They realize it's bumpy. The cars are moving around because of the track surface. So they tend to spread out a bit more, and, well, a few of those little issues we typically have don't tend to still raise their heads up. So we'll have to see how this goes playing forwards and how these guys will continue in this, but we're past the halfway point now in the first fuel stint. Looks like we could see a green flag stop coming up here early, and, well, green flag stops do one thing for us. They spread the field out, and that just makes it more and more likely that we'll see a second green flag stint. And, well, these 90 laps could be over in no time at all. It's barely 20 past 9 at the moment, and we're already 13 laps in the book. These guys are absolutely moving it.
I like to call when they're like this organized chaos, because out there on the track, they're bumping back and forth. We've seen Jorgensen make some radical moves, making it 3 wide for the lead. Only 5 laps into this race, Osborne has made some great moves, blocking both the bottom and the high lane. Cozy's made some amazing radical moves to try to get to the front as well. It's all organized chaos, and every once in a while, somebody's going to get a little bit too greedy, and we might get a caution because of that. However, these boys have really been running absolutely perfect tonight so far. Knock on wood, don't want to jinx anything, but this has been a very tame race so far, even though we've seen a couple of people jump back and forth. One thing that I thought was going to absolutely affect this race, and there was going to be an accident from it, was when the number 1 car fell out like it did. Also the number 23 at the beginning, but everybody kept their cool, everybody kept patient. They realized that this is only the second race of the season. Jorgensen, no need to make any enemies this early on. That's for the playoffs and for the later on races. So far it's been pretty tame, but a good racing.
Absolutely is, and up front, Cozy Jr. is up on the top side here. Jorgensen Jr. behind him as Osborne will challenge for the lead as they get very close there in 3 and 4. Osborne and Cozy Jr. nearly slapping sides, but they managed to hold this one together as things are bottling up a little bit at the front here. This pack is really closing up, and look at that. Gary Champion in the 18 catching up with the second group here. Although there's only 4 cars, it's, I believe, him, 71 at Patton, Mike Field, Justin Levine. Field up front doing a good job this week. He's had some rough weeks, but he's up there doing a great job this season, and we'll see how he plays out, of course. Look back a little further in our field. Austin Coop in the 53 machine running back there in the 19th position in the batteries and bulbs LSRTV 53 car. A bit further back, Harry Tiller, normally up front, 63 car, 9 car, even he's running way back in 22nd place. With the likes, of course, of Robbie Lyons from the Camping World Truck Series. He's on his own. Robbie Lyons has lost the draft. He's back in 29th place there. About 10 seconds off your pack and 3 seconds ahead of Piccolella. And Flag had issues as well. He started up front and he's right back there as well. So some of these guys desperately wanting a caution.
Not only are they desperately wanting a caution, but one thing that we can remind our viewers is that at lap 45, you know, we do stage races now with the Superspeedway Cup Series. So at lap 45, stage 1 will complete. We'll go on to the next stage, move everybody back up again, and we'll get some amazing pack racing. Not that this pack racing so far up here in the front hasn't been amazing. The dicing and the diving between Jorgensen, Osborne, and Cozy has been absolutely fantastic to watch. And it's also good to note that back there, Champion in that 18, they were able to get that 4-car draft together and have caught this pack, which will make it even more interesting down the line. As you said earlier, green flag pit stops are probably right around the corner.
Absolutely, we're looking at pit stops in approximately 4 laps now, so this first stint has really dropped away on us here, and where's time gone? This one is absolutely flying. Cozy Jr. leading the way there, the low side prevailing right now, but the high side staying very relevant thanks to the track preference for the middle smoother line. And wow, it's just the sheer determination of that low side keeping them moving forwards, of course, and we'll see how this one does pan out. This one though is, well, we'll have to see exactly how it plays, but we're expecting our stage end here. I believe it's going to be between lap 40 and 45 with this 90 lap run. We'll have to get confirmation on that one for you, but it's lap 40, sorry, no, lap 40 I believe it is, so we'll go with that for now. Don't forget, the rest of this season you can also catch the IROC V Series, IROC 5 Series, which has been a companion series so far. You saw it at Daytona for the 500. They are back again on the 23rd of September at Michigan, which should be an incredible race for those guys, and then back in, I think it's the 5th of March for, no, April I should say, 5th of April at Indianapolis, and then June 22nd at Talladega. So those will be some fantastic races to keep an eye on. But up front here is Cozy Jr. on the low side with Dana Osborne, Jason Altmans, and then back side by side Junkins and Jorgensen Jr. as things get a little more tense here as we head towards the end of this lap, and guys realizing they'll be coming in for fuel in 1 or 2 laps, and they want to get down to that low side so they can actually get to pit road. And we're leaving here, of course, written out a second. Seth the Merchant and Jorgensen Jr. up there on the high side looking for a place to go, and their only option is to go backwards.
Yeah, that bottom line has absolutely formed up, and they are making that big push now. Jorgensen, 3 cars now only on the top side there, and that's Jorgensen, the Merchant, and the number 87 of Rittenor. And Rittenor now, he will jump down to the bottom. It looks like Rittenor might even do the same thing as well. Jorgensen still on the top. 57 is going to stay up there, try to help him out, but they're going to be heading backwards very, very fast if they can't find a hole. Jorgensen might punch it down there in the middle of the 94 and 24 if he can. But Cozy up front being pushed by Osborne, leading this race, single file racing here at Daytona.
Yeah, it really is, and we'll have to see where this one does pan out to, because they're looking for spaces, and There nearly was one in front of Berger, but Jorgensen was just a little too far back to slot into that position. And here comes the first group. 3 cars heading to pit road. Osborne. Oh, nearly problems there as it was almost caught. Oh, Osborne. No, that's Junkins onto the grass. We'll just have a quick replay of that pit road entry there because...
Oh, they
76 Warren. Yeah, 76 had tapped Junkins, put him onto the grass, and he got on the grass himself. Lost it on pit road there as they came together and round. He goes into the inside pit wall. He's wrecked. So Warren in problems after contact with Junkins there. Both of them went up to the grass, and everybody else makes it on pit road. No problems to them. As well, Junkins missed his pit box spectacularly. I don't think your pit box is all the way out on pit road itself. Oh, he was actually 3 boxes too far forwards as well. So that's going to really kill his race. Osborne gets off pit road after everybody else misses their pit boxes besides the 18 champion. So it's the 8 and the 18 are going to be hooking up together on the racetrack as they only two to go off pit road. Well, the only two that got off pit road this week, I believe. Next group heading down pit road. That's your leaders now from the second group coming down and including there Basili the third. Oh, more people getting onto the grass. Coming in a bit too hot. Expecting this to be like Daytona. 97 got a bit of a wiggle on there on the grass as the 88, the 77, 94 hitting pit road as well. Everyone trying to find their gaps here and make it into their pit boxes in one piece. This group seemed to find their pit boxes a little easier than the last lot. As, whoa, looks like Jorgensen Jr. missed his box up there at the front. He had to reverse in. That'll cost him time as he's missed it a second time. Had to adjust. Oh, that has cost him a huge amount of time. Jorgensen Jr. Wow, these guys are simply not used to Daytona 07, I think. They're so programmed for the new Daytona that this one threw them for a loop here.
And now just everybody is separated.
Oh, big lockups again. Oh, round goes to Merchant. Yes, nearly. No, he holds on to it. Another replay of a pit road entrance because apparently these guys have forgotten how to pit. As in comes Seth the Merchant, locks the brakes, ends up sideways, saves it. Berger slides. 71 slides as well. I know I was on replay. I was looking back at the actual incident that happened there for that third group that went down pit road. It's been kind of a lot to catch up on as 3 lead pack groups come to pit road and all 3 have issues.
Absolutely chaotic in all 3 groups coming down. The second one was a little bit more organized, more cars got into their pit lane, but man, that first group that came in there, once they all started brake checking each other and going off into the grass, it was on from there. And when Junkins tried to get back onto the track itself, or onto pit road rather, making contact, spinning out, hitting the wall, man, that is a rough break to be only 23 laps into this race. Luckily, this is early on in the season, so not a lot hurting them on that side. A lot of racing still to go, and a lot of racing still to go tonight, right? We got 90 laps tonight. We're only 23 laps in. We have the stage ending pretty soon in about 20-something laps, so not a whole lot to really worry about unless there's like some real extensive damage on that vehicle from that wreck.
It certainly is, and well, those guys have to kind of look back at how they're pitting for future reference because green flag pitting might be another thing in this race with how split up we are. Spencer Preet out front here with the Merchant, but that'll obviously change with the pit cycle. I believe the Merchant has pitted. Preet I don't think has. Cozy Jr. will be our lead group there with Dana Osborne and written out a second. Those 3 managed to get on pit road reasonably well themselves. Behind them, that's the 76 of Warren along with Berger in the 24 car. We've completely shaken our running order up in this one, and they've all pit. But Demerchant and Preet being caught here by Cozy and Co. That's their new group nickname, Cozy and Co. As here comes Tiller and some lapped cars. I think Harry Tiller, no, he's up in 7th place. Coop, though, is a lap down at this point in time after the pit sequence. 61 car is up in position. That's Mike Steele having a great race today. Here comes Champion and the 11 of Ricky Wall. So this one is completely turned around on its head.
And after having an incident in the pits, DeMerchant was having a little bit of a problem there. He's back up there in 2nd place, right behind Preet. And so not a lot of things hurt him. I guess just because everybody had problems on pit road, the people who did have issues, you know, benefited from it because everybody else was having the same exact issues that they had. But now Osborne and Cozy, they've made their way back up. Absolute powerhouses pulling up to Preet and DeMerchant, and soon might take them over. It looks like we're going to get a good pack up here in the front. The 87, 76, and 24, respectively, all coming up as well to join the pack. And we might be back to pack racing pretty soon here in Daytona.
We might, and I think the biggest difference here is Seth the Merchant messed up the least on pit road out of all these guys. He had a bit of a sachet coming onto the pit road, but his stop was good as they're going to go around the 94 there. The car of Frank Basile III, who is not McLoving it right now. He's suffering. He's going to drop back there as everyone goes around on the high side. Piccolella just ahead of him will also now drop down a lap as this lead group of Preet, De Merchant, Cozy Jr., Osborne, and right now the second come through. Warren and Berger joining this lead pack now, so we'll have at least 5, 6, 7 cars in this lead group fighting together for this one. And wow, this should be an exciting end to our stage because we're going to have 13 laps this time by and 7 cars to fight it out.
7-car shootout for the stage win. Every point counts, every position counts, and these drivers know it. Osborne looking to the inside, maybe trying to get a little help from those lap cars that they just passed, but he'll check back right back behind Cozy. I think right now Cozy and Osborne are the people to beat up there in that front pack, as Osborne will jump down to the low side, getting loose. He's into the grass. He's popping back up on the racetrack. Saved it. What a save by Osborne, but he'll be out of that pack.
We'll get a quick replay of that one there for you as they came into the triangle. Osborne taps the back of Cozy but misses, goes down the track, clips the apron, slides down onto the grass, holds it straight, recovers without incident. Big control there by Dana Osborne in the 8, but that's dropped them back to 53 of Coop there, who's a lap down with Tiller and Thiel and Champion. That drops one out of our 7-car lead pack into an hour 6, although Berger's struggling to keep up to the back of Warren.
Back in that second pack now. He was picked up and he's starting to move his way back up here. He's got the car to be able to do it. That was scary at first, but a great save by him. Kind of reminiscent of the Kyle Busch save back in 2012 at Daytona when they were exiting turn 4. They got all sideways, sending sparks up into the air. So great save by Osborne. Kind of left Cozy's drafting partner out now. He's by himself. Maybe the 87 there will pick him up, Rittenor, and help push him to the front. I want to see if Cozy can try to get this stage win, but looking back, 8, Osborne really powering into this new pack, and now we're here again. Oh, he got loose. He got tapped by the 53 and saved it once again. Absolutely wild.
Crazy stuff indeed. Things getting a bit more hairy towards the end of our first stage here at Daytona 07, and the wild track is leading to some wild racing, although things have stayed green so far. Impressively green now as we've got some 2-wide racing back behind your lead 6 or 7. A lot of lap cars mixed in with lead lap cars after the shuffles with the pit stops, and well, people choking up now with no space to go. Piccolella holding up Tiller there, and Thiel. Oh, Tiller gets put sideways, holds onto it again. Another car that holds onto it, and these guys are struggling to maintain control of their race cars right now. Osborne coming back to the front as well, could still be in contention. Coming up here with Basile III, who's giving him a McTow. Preet up front, still ahead of De Merchant, and hanging on to this thing. Spencer Preet could be looking at a chance for this stage win if nobody else makes a move.
And that is quintessential Daytona. A lapped car leading the high line to the front. Osborne right behind him, pushing him along, and they're doing it. That high line came out of nowhere. It came from the second lead pack of cars after Osborne fell back a couple laps ago, and now he's right back up in it. He's going to be trying to go for second place, and I guarantee you he's going to try to go for the stage win.
So he is, of course, and the stage win is coming up very soon. That's big points for the season these guys all want to consider, because if they can't get themselves a win outright, they can try and point their way in. And every round, so every year so far, we've had people point their way into this championship. I think it's getting a bit sticky here. Basile III not going to drop him down at the moment, and Osborne looking for an opportunity. Coop drops down, who's a lap down car here. The 53 car drops to leading the low side here. It's 2 lapped cars leading both lanes at Daytona 07 here. 8 laps from your end of stage, and this is something we've just not seen before. Well, not very often at least. 2 lap cars leading both lanes.
I guess they just really want to know how it feels to be up front. But but Osborne is using it to his advantage. He's getting that side draft off that bottom car, and now that high line has wiggled themselves free. That's the 94, Osborne the 8. You got the number 11 back there, Rick Wall, who's now shown in second place. Everybody's got to remember that 94 car is a lap down. That's Buscaglia, the third lap down, but in the front of the pack. So the two people we want to look for right now is that number 8 and the number 11, Osborne and Wall, respectively. But we got a lap car to the high side and will remain on the high side, making it 3 wide all the way around. This is going to be hairy for them as they exit turn 2 and head on to that back stretch.
I think it was most hairy there for Tiller in the 69 car, who got a little tight with the lap car of the 25 machine as they got past Kyle Manger there. Here comes another one from the handle. That's a 25 machine up top. No, 15 car. Robbie Lyons, who's having a bad day so far, lost the draft early on. He's 1 lap down. Now we're 2 laps down now over your group as 52 is trying to get his lap back the hard way, and he's doing just that. In fact, you know what? You're actually right. Daniel Osborne's leading this race, but right now, of course, Buscaglia the third is back on the lead lap, and the Coupe as well, trying to race his way back onto that lead lap at the half-time caution. So, strategy from all these lap down cars, they want to get back on the lead lap.
They definitely want to get back on the lead lap, because as soon as they do, and that caution comes out for this end of the stage, then they're back onto the lead lap, and they're sitting cozy for the rest of the race if they can remain on the lead lap. And so we got Osborne up front trying to get those points, trying to get this stage win here at Daytona. But I mean, that stage win is just as sweet for the 53 and the 94 who want to get their lap back as hard as possible.
Absolutely. Of course, stage has been updated. Of course, we've just been told by race control lap 45 for tonight will be our stage end. So there's about 10 laps to go now. Time to turn the dial up. And talking of sitting cozy, the 77 machine is down on the low side from being up front in this race. He's mired back in 7th place here with so many lap cars trying to race their way back onto the lead lap. Some of them, of course, contenders from early on in the race. Some of them wanting to try and find a way back, the easy way into a position of contention for when this cycles around to being the actual restart here. We'll know we'll get a caution in 10 laps time, so that's a good indication for them. As Osborne leading the way here, but Buscaglia the third getting a bit further ahead again, and Coupe looking for opportunity to get past Osborne. It would be beautiful justice if the 94 and the 53 were out front when the caution flew. Not only would it help them get their lap back, but just to see the first 2 cars across the stripe were lap down cars would be pretty unlike the series.
But also what it does show is that their cars are strong enough to handle being up there in the front. And so when they get their lap back, if they get their lap back, then, I mean, they'll have no problem whatsoever getting back up to the front with those cars. And so, therefore, being able to contend for a win today. Michael Cozy, he's back there in the 5th position, it looks like. And he's kind of remained calm, back from how it was in the beginning. He's biding his time. I think everybody, after seeing a couple of near misses and amazing saves from some of these drivers, you know, they realize that they're not even to the end of the stage yet, and they want to try to hold it all together before everything falls apart. But Osborne still up there in the lead. Coupe 53 trying to get back up there to the front, get his lap back. And of course, you got the 94 down there on the bottom. Very, very strong cars all up here in the front, whether it be on the lead lap or behind.
Absolutely, and wow, Osborne still strong, leading the way. Dino Osborne making a return to this series. And number 8 car looking strong today as Coupe dives to the bottom there in front of the 94 Buscaglia the third. They're about to lap Travis Brown and Rod Flag here. He'll go 3 wide, 2 deep at least as they go through the tri-oval, and this will make things very interesting for them. Lap 37 here on to 38, and it's getting a little tight there between the 8 and the 94. Once they get past here, they'll breathe a sigh of relief there as Coupe moves up to the high side to get in front of... Oh, Brown in the wall. Travis Brown caught the wall there as 87 slows down right now in a second. A little bit of a choke up there in your pack as Osborne's now being controlled by Buscaglia the third and Austin Coupe, who's leading the way in this thing. And that 53 could race his way back onto the lead lap if he can hold on for 7 more laps.
with that little hiccup in turn 1 and 2, Cozy actually got into the back of Rittenor pretty hard, so hopefully there's no severe damage to that car that could affect him later on. But I just want to make a note real quick of how brilliant of a move by Coop that was. He saw up front 2-lap cars taking up that high lane and knew that this was his perfect opportunity to dive to the bottom, get below Osborne, and have those use those lap cars to pit Osborne to the high side so he could get that lead. That was an absolutely brilliant move. I was cheering him on from here. So just absolutely brilliant move by Austin Coop. I just wanted to bring up.
Fantastic move there by Austin Coop, and there'll be some more, I think, before the end of this race, because right now things are getting very busy at the front as lap cars trying to dictate how this stage ends. Preet on the low side pushing Brasilia, Osborne on the high side pushing Coop. This is definitely a big fight here between two sets of cars. Who wants to be the first car lap down? Who wants to be the lead, or the back of the lead lap by position? And who actually wants to win the stage? Because there's 2 cars trying to win the stage and 2 cars competing to get back to the lead lap. Behind them, Wall, who is, I believe, at this point in time, a 3rd place runner for tonight behind Preet and Osborne. You've got Seth the Merchant there in 4th place on the low side, who could be a contender. Tiller written out of 2nd. Berger, Cozy Jr. and Warren and Thiel still involved in this thing very strongly. And the lap down cars are still controlling this race, and you can see some tension building as Osborne's desperately trying to find a way past Coop.
A lot of names that you usually don't see up there in the front, which is why I like Superspeedway so much, because almost anybody can win it. It's such a cliche thing to say, but it's true. And it's not because it's simple, it's not because it's easy, but it's because it's foot down, pedal to the metal, straight up, being the best driver you could possibly be in a very high, tense situation. And you were mentioning earlier all these different drivers up there pushing Osborne, Coop. The way you were talking about it just sounded like a perfect storm, and I hope that they can keep it together until this stage completes. But boy, it's brewing up there right now.
It absolutely is brewing right now, as here we go. On to lap 42 here. We're going to have 3 laps left in this thing, and boy, is it still going strong. Osborne got to the bottom on the low side, behind Preet. Not in a position to really compete at this point, but Coop's still leading the outside lane there, ahead of Wall, Tiller, and Warren. Brasilia 3rd on the low side, ahead of your race leader, so we'll wave back. Easily first car lap down for Coop. Free wave round for him, but, wow, I mean, Preet's looking to make a move here. Was this the right timing going into the corner? He's holding the sustain up there as he goes in front of Coop and Tiller. They pull up behind him now with the draft. This could give momentum to the outside lane they really needed, as, oh, coming to pit road, they aren't going to make it on fuel. Oh, this is super close. 8, 94, 11, 77, 61, all heading to pit road now. 45, of course, that puts us over our pit stop window for both stops, so everyone's going to have to splash and dash before the end of the stage.
Oh, that poor yellow cone got absolutely destroyed, but this is 100%.
That's a shocker.
This is 100%.
I was not expecting this.
I know. This is an amazing tactical move by these guys right before the stage ends, so they don't have to come in under caution. I
don't think they can. That's the thing. It's 45 laps, and the fuel lasts to about 21, 22 laps. They're a lap or 2 short, no matter how you sell this, unless they've saved fuel. Cow. So I think we're going to see more cars heading to pit road this time by as Coop comes down. Rittenauer comes down, Warren comes down. Preet's going to stay out. Was this a wise decision? Can he hold on with gas? That's the question. Preet, Tiller, the Merchant and Berger are staying out on track. Have they saved enough fuel for this? Could they make it, or will they have to come by next time? It'll be lap 45 next time by, so we'll see. Do they make it? Was this a major strategic play in saving fuel on the racetrack? Of course, don't forget, the leaders of the race didn't lead on the track. They could save fuel. Is it enough, though? As they come now through 3 and 4, they're slowing down. Are they trying to just make it here across the line as Flag catches up as well? Lap cars are streaming past them. Are they going to stay on the racetrack and try and hold this thing? Flag comes down pit road. Preet stayed out. I think he'll make it here. On to lap 45, and this could be it for them. Not sure if it's this lap or this lap by. Will they make one more lap in this thing and hold on? And here we go. The line this time by will be it. Can they make it? Jorgensen Jr. coming up fast as well. Preet's out of fuel. Spencer Preet out of gas on the backstretch. Will not make it. Jorgensen Jr. out of nowhere. Here he comes. He's a lap down technically. But he's going to get himself back on the lead lap, I think, with this move. As the caution will fly. Can Seth DeMerchant hold on to take the stage win? This is an end to a NASCAR race you wanted, but it's a stage win as Jorgensen Jr. Oh, DeMerchant loses power. He goes round. Tiller goes round. Berger goes round. Cozy Jr. will come through out of nowhere. No, it's not Cozy Jr. I don't know who's winning this, as DeMerchant's going to struggle across the line and be scored in first place, maybe? I have no idea. DeMerchant is scored in first place and will make it to his pit box here. That was different. Let's scroll back in this thing and look at what happened on the racetrack as coming to the line, DeMerchant loses fuel. Replay for you coming up now. Coming to the line in 3 and 4, DeMerchant loses fuel. Kind of gets off the track, but doesn't. Berger slaps him, goes up the track, hits the car of, I think that was Jorgensen Jr., hits Tiller. Tiller and Dame go round. Everyone goes round. Pandemonium on the racetrack. DeMerchant misses them both as they slam into the inside barrier and blow up their engines. And DeMerchant passes in the grass, will break the tape on the line and will come across as your stage winner and makes it to his pit box. So that was probably the most unusual end to a stage I've ever seen in my entire history commentating.
And they say stage racing isn't
wow.
interesting.
That was, yeah, and people say stage racing, yeah, like you say, people say stage racing is not interesting. Did you just watch that? And if not, this clip might be on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter because you just watched that. That happened. We had people running out of fuel running to the caution to end the stage. We had people running out of fuel in the final corner. We had crashing as they were coming to the tri-oval. We had a guy who ran through the grass to cross the start-finish line in first place for when the caution came out, who then made it to his pit box and refueled and got back out on track again. Ladies and gentlemen, this is NASCAR. Leaders hit pit road now, so I'm trying to English right now because that was pretty incredible.
Insane. Yeah, that was absolutely insane, and it was crazy because I thought Tiller was gonna get the win. He was showed as first. I thought he was gonna get that stage win right there, and then just everything broke loose. DeMerchant ran out of gas, and it just was an accordion effect, and all of a sudden the person in first place just slams into the wall. I'm still trying to comprehend what just happened.
That was a New Hampshire race end. That was a Pocono race end. That was a Tony Stewart and Ryan Newman race end. That was a Kyle Busch Pocono race end. And this was the end of the stage, ladies and gentlemen. That wasn't even the end of the race. We're going to go through now and look what we've got here and see where people are actually listed, because DeMerchant is scored down in 10th place right now, but we'll wait till we get to the line to actually give you your positions now, of course, as timing will refresh for us, of course. And we'll get to see exactly what the position is going to be for your half time at the end of the stage, even though the win of the stage goes to Seth DeMerchant, who's currently down in 10th place. As someone's saying in the chat, words are hard. Confirmed. My voice is sore actually running to the end of that stage, considering that was a green flag stage where we had that at the end. As everyone now heads to pit road, which is going to make our timing and scoring even harder. We're going to give it a lap or so before we come back with our halftime race report, so we are going to step aside, folks, for a brief moment whilst these guys complete the pit cycle. We'll come back to you with our halftime race report just after these messages.
The yellow flag is out. Pit road is now open. Keep your eye on those gauges. We'll give you 4 tyres. 3, 2, 1, now. We're done. Get going.
Racing, you wanted the best, you got them 4 abreast, often imitated, never duplicated, the greatest show on dirt, the World of Outlaws.
The yellow flag is out. Pit road is now open. Keep your eye on those gauges. We'll give you 4 tyres. 3, 2, 1, now. We're done. Get going.
Welcome back to the Super Speedway. We've no idea what's going on Cup here at Daytona, and I believe we'll be going staying on a caution for the lap whilst we get things sorted out, or we may not, because this is we know nothing about what's going on. So there we go, we're getting another lap under caution here, and now we seem to know what's going on. We'll take a moment to go to your midway race break. So as we cross the halfway point of tonight's race, let's take a look at how things are standing. Of course, the midway race break brought to you by iRacing, the leading online racing simulation, developed from the beginning as a centralized racing and competition service. iRacing organizes, hosts, and officiates races on virtual tracks all around the world. In the fast-paced world of esports, iRacing is a one-stop shop for online racing with officially sanctioned racing from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, World of Outlaws, and more. Looking at our starting order for this one, of course, it's Michael Cozy Jr., Dan Harrington, Jason Altmans, Travis Brown, Ray Ritnell second, Corey Smith, Kyle Manger, Ramon Evans, Justin Levine in 10th place, Lucas Cram, Robbie Lyons, Austin Coop, Gary Champion, Chris Bazzini, Daniel Osborne, Frank Basile III, Seth Merchant, Sean McCarrick, Mike Thiel, Glenn Hedrick, Ricky Wall, Chris Patton, Spencer Preet, Mark Jorgensen Jr., Joseph Youngkins, Joey Piccolella, Rod Flagg, and Jake Champion on your lead lap in 29th place. Cars 1 lap down, Andrew Berger, Harry Tiller, Scott Warren, Rodney Warford, Daniel Holloway, Richard Rager Jr., and Bentley Glasser in 36th place. That was a look at your iRacing midway race break, and for more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities online, visit iRacing.com to sign up today. Thanks to our friends at Red Bull Global Rallycross, you can now visit iRacing.com/membership and use the code PR-GRC for an opportunity to start your career in iRacing with 3 months for only $5. That is promo code PR-GRC for new members only. Well, Ted, do you want to talk for a moment in time? Because as we're coming now through, I think we're going back to green this time by here. And it'll be, you know what? I will keep going because we're about to go back to green, I believe, this time by. And we'll see exactly what is going to happen on this restart, because my preconceptions to this race have been blown wide open. I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't think the pace car driver knows whether to stay on track or to pull off onto pit road, or whether he'll be back out again if we're not going a second time. Take it away for a moment.
Yep, they ended up putting that yellow flag right back out into the air, and they'll be going around one more time. Michael Cozy Jr., the number 77 car, he's out there in the front. He's been doing absolutely fantastic tonight. We got some names up there in the front that we haven't really seen at all tonight. Dan Harrington, Travis Brown, Corey Smith, Ramon Evans, Kyle Manger, Robbie Lyons. So a lot of these names that we haven't seen yet now have a chance to be up in the front, be front and center, and see if they can get a win here at Daytona back in time in 2007. 84, the number 84, took an extra lap. He is back out on the track, back there in the field, so everything is okay there, which is good. That's what we had the other caution flag get thrown out for. But it seems at this time we will be going green and get back to some green flag racing here at Daytona. It's been a good one so far. It's going to continue to be a good one. And if that's how the end of the stage went, I cannot even fathom how the end of this race is going to go.
I have absolutely no idea myself, and I've got no idea what's going on here. So we're going to get back to green flag racing here in just a second's time, and we're on lap 51 here, so we'll get things shaked out. And it's only 9:55, folks. We're 50 laps into this 90-lap race, and it's 9:55. This thing is, well, finally back in the right order, about to go green again, but 9:55 and we've done 50-odd laps. This could be over in half an hour, should they continue the way they're going to, but now I've said that, they're going to crash every 2 laps. So I hope you like wrecks. They're about to happen as the green flag will wave once again, and Michael Cosi Jr. leads away through the tri-oval. But a bit of a shambles of a start by the outside lane, who apparently didn't bother showing up for this one. Although that could be because so many people were waved around, and I think that's exactly why this is in this position. This is 3 wide, a little bit further back in the pack, around likes of, I think this is down here, Glenn Hedrick in the middle with the likes of 21 on the top side, sorry, Merchant in the middle, Jorgensen Jr. behind him, the 81 of Junkins in front of them, Dina Osborne there as well, and 71 car on the low side, Chris Patton, as we've got a powerhouse moving through the middle, and P1, Cosi Jr. fighting here alongside Dan Harrington. No, it's not Harrington, it's a 97 of Altman's taking the lead on the low side, coming through 3 and 4, and I think it's getting shaky at the sharp end.
Altman's jumping up into the lead, and he's going to try to hold on to it. 87 there, right behind him, Rednor. He's pushing him very hard, but the powerhouse of Michael Cosi's been a powerhouse all day. He's up there on the top lane trying to make that top lane work. Looks like the number 8 Dana, he's all the way back. DeMerchant right behind it, and Austin Coop in the number 53 all in a line back there. 1, 2, 3, one after another, and Jorgensen. So a lot of big names in the back starting to try to push their way right back up to the front. But up front right now, we have Altman's leading this race, and he wants to hold on to it as long as humanly possible.
Absolutely does, and Altman's coming from almost nowhere in this race to being front and center here. He's written out a second behind him there, as the outside struggling just a little bit. Low side, surprisingly, hasn't got many cars in it. Lucas Crown, the last of 4 cars in this very front group here, as look who's worked their way up here already. Osborne, DeMerchant, and Jorgensen Jr. already working their way through this front group, and outside gets a good run here. Cosi Jr. Looks like Dan Harrington just in the vine there. Travis Brown, and that is the 83 car, Ramon Evans, back up here as well. So things getting a bit busy as Austin Cooper as well in his front group from being a lap down. He's now on the lead lap here with the front pack, and things looking up for the 53 car.
Justin Levine in the number 4 car started all the way back in 10th, 11th place when the green flag dropped to bring us back to racing. He's already up there in that top line, looking to try to get 3rd place, working with the number 82 of Harrington and the number 77 of Cosi. But down there on that low side, Altman's is really starting to powerhouse, trying to get back up to the front. He wants to keep leading. But a lot of just dicing in the back as everybody's trying to find their line, trying to find what works good for them. They're trying to get back into the game. When it comes to those pit stops that happened earlier, and then that crazy stage finish where everybody was just confused and discombobulated, I think right now everybody's just trying to get their bearings straight once again so they can make it to the end of this race. But up there in the front, Cosi, definite lead as he drops down to the low side right in front of that 97 of Altman's, who will try to work that back bumper and get that lead right back.
Absolutely will, and we'll have to see how this plays out, because I don't think anyone can predict a single thing here, as it's now single foul at the front with Cozy Jr. and Jason Altman's there. Written out a second, and Dan Harrington involved in this is back at Altman's goes. Contact there. Oh, gonna have problems, but they all hold it straight. Some no, they don't, of course. Here we go. Caution will fly. Got our first actual yellow flag of this race. And we'll rewind things on the LSRTV replay cameras here, and we'll show you what led to this disaster about halfway down the backstretch. Coming along they go, and, well, as Altmans pulls up, he checks up the outside line. Harrington gets forced down, which slaps Written out a second, and that puts Levine up into the outside wall. Everyone else kind of checks up and wobbles and goes sideways. Written out a second can't help but come back up the track, gets turned by the 10 car. Harrington also gets turned, and shenanigans ensue, and they are not the cheeky or fun kind.
Oh, and I hate it for a guy like Coop, who, you know, he made it through that wreck at first. He was doing just fine, and then he just gets absolutely drilled at the last second by a car coming right back onto the track. Hit the wall, still held it straight, didn't knock him totally out, but that damage is going to definitely do some work on him. Another car that was collected in that wreck and got a lot of damage to it was that number 1 of, or not 1, but the number 8 of Dana Osborne, and then the number 88 of Jorgensen Jr. Both of them got damaged during that wreck. So a lot of big names possibly out after this first big wreck and caution here at Daytona.
Just a few drivers in some perilous positions right now, as, yeah, we are going to be a quick fix for these drivers. They've got a car still behind the wall for them, as Seth the Merchant nails the yellow cone once again, and that poor cone deserves a Man of the Match award, but they'll come back out, of course, and get this thing restarted. I think pretty much everybody has still got that backup car available, so we should be good to go.
Oh, man, hashtag don't hurt the cone, man. That is again. But under caution here, these pit stops, very vital for all these drivers. As we saw earlier, right before the stage ended, all of those different green flag stops out of nowhere, they had to come down. All of them were running out of gas. Some did run out of gas, and that actually led to a wreck right there at the end of the stage. And so every drop of Sunoco racing fuel helps in this moment for these drivers, as they are in and out and ready to go back racing.
They are indeed, and well, once again, we've had a very interesting one here at Superspeedway Cup, and our first real caution of the night. And Ted, this 07 track has been the most unusual race we've seen for a long time.
It's an unusual race for a very unusual track, and it's such a major difference, because when you watch this race, and you can see on your TV and on your computer and everywhere, you can see when these cars are bouncing up and down as they go into the each turn. It is hard on your hands. It's hard on your wheel. It's hard on your car. And so the fact that they were able to hold it together for so long is just a testament to how great these drivers actually are. And they're just showing it as the entire night goes on. This is a very hard track to tame, and they've done a pretty well job of it tonight.
Yeah, they absolutely have, and this track has been unforgiving tonight as we go through this thing here on to lap 59 and lap 60 next time by. Wow. 30 laps to go. We've had our first proper caution. This puts us in a 1 stop to go window, 10 laps somewhere. Do you come in after 10 laps? Do you come in after 20 laps and do 10 to the end? That's going to be a decision these guys have to make. You'll still only lap if you pit, but does another caution fall? When does it fall?
I don't know. I've always been a huge proponent and of cautions breed cautions. They say it all the time, and I'm worried that as the laps start to wind down, 32 to go, we might see some more cautions before the end of the night. These guys really want to win this race. They really want to get up to the front, and they've shown it all through the night. They've shown a lot of patience, but it seems like their patience is going to be wearing thin pretty quick.
That is very likely. Patience running short is something that happens fairly often, and, well, frankly, I'm excited to see how this one does actually play out. There's a lot of potential for great excitement left in this race. We have 30 laps remaining here, and it's going to be 30 frantic laps. This track has tamed these drivers for once. Rather than the Super Speedway Cup guys taming a racetrack, it's been the other way around, and boy, they're going to be exhausted after this.
Let me tell you all about something real quick, all right? I'm going to tell you about Joel Real Timing. Coverage of the Super Speedway Cup Series is brought to you by Joel Real Timing, the official timing software of LSRTV. Whether you spend your time on the sim behind the wheel, on the pit box, or from the spotter stand, JRT is the go-to software for iRacing timing and scoring analytics. Get yourself a basic download or get the pro version today at joel-real-timing.com.
You know what, Ted? I have to give it to you. That was probably one of the most amusing and unexpected segues to a commercial I've ever heard. So when I heard you, let me tell you about something. I thought I was going to hear some profound legend from the annals of racing from you, some intriguing story that finally put the missing block in NASCAR. But no, it was a plug for JRT, which, by the way, is fantastic software. We all use it. It's amazing. And Cisco says, yes, it is a piece of knowledge for you guys, because JRT is an edge. Using data is an edge to get you ahead, because NASCAR teams, you better believe they use whatever timing they can get. Timing helps you win races. You can see how fast pit stops were for you and other people. Time your laps. It's so much more than that. It's an incredible piece of kit, and you need it. There's a free version. There's a premium one with even more tools. It's awesome. You should definitely get it. Commercial over. We're going to go back to green flag racing this time by. They're 2 wide now through 3 and 4. Champion and Cozy Jr. on the front row with Travis Brown and Seth Merchant, Dana Osborne, Jason Altmans, Austin Coop, Glenn Hedrick, Jake Champion, and Ramon Evans. So let's get this thing wound back up again.
Pace car off turn 4. Gonna dive below that yellow line. And he's second now. There he goes. Dives right below the yellow line. Gary Champion, will take them to the green flag. We're back racing here at Daytona International Speedway. Gary Champion on the bottom. Michael Cozy Jr. on the top, being pushed by Demergent. And you got Osborne back there as well as Travis Brown pushing Champion as they are underway here again at Daytona into turn 1, going into turn 2, and onto the backstretch. Onto the backstretch, Champion still holding a significant lead, being pushed by Brown, who's doing a great job there. Jorgensen on the bottom, he's back in it. He was hitting the, he got hit earlier with that wreck and everything, but he seems to be okay. Austin Coop's still in it. Dana Osborne got a little bit of piece of that wreck too, but they're back up there in the front. God, I love Daytona. They're racing off of turn 4 onto the front stretch. Champion still holding a sizable lead as Cozy drops back with Demergent, still trying to catch up to him to push him along. Austin Coop in that 53 car, he's back there in 7th place. He's doing a pretty good job moving up there, and he might be competing for this win. Also, oh, big wreck! Wow, he spins! Oh gosh, what a huge
You said
wreck.
it. Cautions breed cautions.
Oh my
and
goodness!
Once again, product of the cardinal sin of NASCAR, pushing in the corners on the Super Speedway, which is bad enough at the nice smooth Daytona. You had the bumps involved, and wow, Demergent had his bumper up against the 77, who was forced to be up against the 01, and while they bumped, the 01 goes round in front of the entire field. The only car to get away with it was Gary Champion in the 18, who got off scot-free. Everybody else off to the junk heap. A lot of those guys have just had to use up cars, and well, a few of them won't be able to get back in this race because that was a big, big junk.
Looking at the replay here, oh my goodness! All of a sudden, Champion was just by himself. That was insane. But looking at the replay here, yep, Demergent was just pushing Cozy Jr. way too hard into that turn. You never want to bump into the turns here at Daytona, especially at especially here at Circo 7 Daytona, with how many bumps there are in the track. And so, with all the bumping going on, that number 01 of Brown just got turned around right down into Osborne, and it was on from there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, God, 11 cars just absolutely clunker through there. I don't even know if we're going to have anybody left by the end of this.
You know what? I'm not even sure myself. It's definitely a bit unusual, and we'll have to see exactly what will go from this, but a very unusual one for so far. But we're going to take a quick commercial break, folks. We'll step aside for a few moments while they get themselves sorted out. We'll be back for the green flag.
I'm driving the number 20 JGR Toyota Xfinity car this weekend. Really great opportunity here at New Hampshire at my home track. Over the past few weeks, I've been on iRacing, practicing a little bit here and there with the modified and the NASCAR Xfinity car, so it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great tool for me to kind of get used to that stock car body again and be prepared for the race today. Well, yeah, it's a mile long, so the draft kind of plays into effect here with the modifieds, punches a big hole in the air, and we run restrictor plates. So it makes a big difference. Just really fast, and it's our Daytona. So that's what's great about it, and we have a fast car for tomorrow. I think the biggest thing is they're heavier cars. The tire's a lot different, and the way you go about setting them up is a lot different. They use all 4 tires more than a modified, where we typically drive off the right rear, you know, so. Well, actually, it's funny. I raced NASCAR race in 2003 before iRacing came about. And then when iRacing came about, my friend Kevin Iannarelli, who works at iRacing, kind of told me, hey man, you need to switch over to this. And when I did, I was like, oh my God, this is like real life. So I started using it as a tool of mine to really prepare for modified races, whether it was Stafford or Thompson or Loudon, Bristol. And then obviously the Xfinity Series last year, going to road courses, trying to get laps, and use it as a tool that can get me as prepared as I could be without actually doing it. So it's been great.
The yellow flag is out. Pit road is now open. Keep your eye on those gauges. We'll give you 4 tyres. 3, 2, 1, now. We're done. Get going.
Welcome back to the Super Speedway Cup Series here on LSRTV. We're restacked and ready for another run. It's lap 66, and Well, we're ready for another run at this thing. Corey Smith out front with Mike Thiel out front as well. First time for him this season. Justin Levine, Scott Warren, Harry Tiller, Dan Harrington, Michael Cozy Jr., Seth the Merchant with Jake Champion and Jason Altman's your top 10. And, well, a number of these guys are in pretty bad shape. Dana Osborne in and out for repairs on a car that's looking a lot worse for wear than it should be. Lee Warford is only 2 laps down now, so he's sitting pretty in a position where he's got a fairly good race car and opportunity to make something interesting happen if he can get 2 more laps back. Not sure that'll happen, but we'll see. After his disconnect issue, of course, and Robbie Lyons lead lap in 30th, last car on the lead lap there. That's number 15 car. Pristine still, so there's opportunity. A lot of these guys pretty bent up, which is going to be unfortunate for them, of course, and we'll see how this does play forwards. A lot of cars with bent panels. These guys won't be able to keep up. Joggers Jr.'s car's mashed up. The 25 is mashed up. Wow, a lot of these cars in pretty rough shape. We'll get ready for this restart now, and Ted, this is going to be a very different race.
Yeah, it's going to be very different indeed. That big caution, big wreck, injured a lot of cars, and so it's going to be interesting to see how the air affects it. But that pace car jumps down low. They'll head to the start-finish line, led by Corey Smith in that 10 car, who gets a great jump, great push by that number 4 Levine, as he will get a sizable lead as we're back to racing here at Daytona.
We are indeed. Great start to the racing once again, and Altman's drops down to the low side from mid in your top 10, and out front, Corey Smith, Justin Levine there with Dan Harrington on the low side, Thiel on the top side, and behind him 76 of Warren, Tiller, the Merchant, Cozy Jr. on the low side with 31 car there. Jake Champion as Tiller drops down as well on the high side. Oh no, he comes back up again, he can't decide. As this thing is still going to be fanning out as we see how this plays, but really spreading out very fast here as near contact there between the 81 of Junkins and the 88 of Johnson Jr. who wanted the space. Out front though, low side for once is winning.
Yeah, usually the highline has been dominating just all day today, but they lack right now the cooperation to get all together and try to move to the front, and that bottom line just has a powerhouse of cars moving up there to the front. And one big thing that's going to be a killer throughout the remainder of this race, and we saw it there with Tiller a little bit, is indecisiveness. The more indecisive you are, the more mistakes you might make, which will lead to cautions. And like I said before, cautions breed cautions. We're definitely going to have another one before this race is over. But indecisiveness is another huge killer here at Superspeedways, because every second counts, every inch. And so what I mean by that is that in a blink of an eye, that hole that was there like a second ago can be gone. And so they have to be aware of that, especially as time goes on and anybody's trying to dice for position, because right now we got laps winding down. We're on lap 69 right now. So we're riding down to the end here, and people are going to start making moves to get up there to the front.
They certainly are, and up in front is a very different story to usual. A lot of guys who aren't normally up here, up at the front, and they're making this thing kind of interesting because we have some new drivers in contention. Let's not forget, we look at our previous race winners. Right as I make a mistake with my timing the scoring sheet, and it deletes it for me. That's useful. As the racing carries on, we'll talk about it in a moment, but I believe both cars, we have a car wrecking back in the back there, I think that was. You catch who that was for us?
It was, no, I did not. It was a flash. It happened really fast. I think it might have been the number 1 car. I don't know. Let me look real quick for you. It was the 81. It was the number 81, and that's Joseph Junkins.
Problems there for Joseph Junkins as he had some issues on the racetrack, and well, out front it's, look at this, Mike Thiel leading on the outside lane here. 61 car out front in this thing. Big run for the outside though. Tiller behind him. Will he push? He chooses to push. The Merchant hasn't got a hood on his car as he gets a bit squiffy there from Altman's push. Corey Smith on the low side still holding strong. There's contact behind him, wrecking on the front stretch. And we'll go back under caution here on lap 71, and that was an incident there. Was Junior involved? We'll take a quick replay on this thing and see what happened. Looking back at the replay camera, Jogs Jr. gets into the back of Brown, who's checked up for some reason. gets pushed down, and it's a typical 3, doesn't check up. He gets squeezed, and he gets into Berger, turns him round. Big contact. Jorgensen Jr. is definitely going to be out now. Berger and probably a few others. Cram involved too. Once again, lap 71, back under caution.
Yeah, that was a big wreck, hard hit for Jorgensen Jr., and that will all but end his night tonight. And on the lap previously, when Junkins took a spin into the pits and hit the wall, he was the one, he made contact with Jorgensen Jr. A little bit.
Yeah, he certainly did, and that shook things up for us a little bit. Now we find ourselves, of course, in a spot where we've got another caution again, and this has now put us, I believe, no, we're still not quite into the fuel window, are we? Because it's actually, no, we are. We're inside the fuel window here. It'll be lap 70, so we're fully in the window. If they stop now, they're good to the end of this thing.
And I'm going to imagine that everybody who is anybody is going to come down this time around, because like you said, as soon as they come down, light up with some racing fuel, Sunoco racing fuel, get back out there on the track, they're good to go to the end of this race, and they don't got to worry about another pit stop or green flag stops whatsoever.
Absolutely, and that stop will be a vital one for them because there's no strategy anymore, it's just racing. Although they've struggled with the racing component this half, as everyone getting a little bit more aggressive now at the end of the race coming up. Everyone will come down pit road here for service, top those tanks off, make them good to the end of this thing, and wow. Tonight's race has definitely been a topsy-turvy experiment as Mike Thiel chooses to stay out. Not sure that was the best call, Mr. Thiel, but there you go.
See, the funny thing is that, I mean, everything started off pretty all right. I mean, we didn't really have any problems. We had green flag pit stops. Everybody was doing their job. Then things started getting a little shaky with those pit stops as people were brake checking each other, spinning out the pits. And then just when that stage ended, it went downhill from there. Everything just went absolutely crazy and out of control after that. It happened just so quickly. It took us all by surprise. Nevertheless, from what we've seen tonight, I'm pretty sure this is going to be a fantastic finish.
I have absolutely no doubt that tonight's race will end in fantastic fashion. You, of course, at home will be here to see it here on LSRTV, and it's going to be phenomenal. I don't know, part of me just thinks this is proving to be one of our best races yet in terms of interest and intrigue and sheer craziness on the racetrack. We've had a phenomenal time here, and it's been pretty impressive, actually. I'm really impressed with how this has gone. It was not what I expected, and it's not been a terrible race. The first half was unusual, the conclusion was phenomenal. In the second half we've had 2 cautions, not too many of them, but like you said, cautions breed cautions. Oh, and yes, the 3 is only 1 lap down now, but he was involved in that incident, although this might be his first repair, so I think he could be good still.
Yeah, that was one thing that was taken note of before the caution actually happened, was that he was 2 laps down at the time. And I was going to bring up right before the caution happened, I said, man, if a couple of cautions happen between all of this, he might just be back up on the lead lap and might be a contender to win this race. And, well, caution came out. I'm pretty sure another caution's going to come out before this night is over. And Wolford might be right back in this with his number 3 car.
He certainly could be, and that would be an absolute look up for the Bucks, as that could put him back in contention, of course, to win again. And he's already one of our existing winners, so that could make things very interesting. As well, we're going to get back to racing here on the track very soon. Mike Thiel stayed out under the caution, which is unusual actually at this point. I'm not entirely sure why he's chosen to do that one, as Jorgensen Jr. is actually retired from the race now, as have a few others. Jason Altman's a lap down. But the big story here is Thiel and why he's chosen to stay out. Is he expecting another caution? Or I'm not sure, because I don't think he realizes he can go to the end from here, because anybody who's everybody should have pitted. He was leading. Real chance he would have, of course, come out again and lead again, but Ted, I mean, he was pretty safe in actually coming up pit road first, so I'm not sure why he chose to stay.
It's a pretty radical move, and in my opinion, it was the wrong move to make. For the simple fact of the matter is that what if we go green flag? I mean, chances of it are pretty low, but what if we do go green flag racing for the remainder of this race? He will run out of fuel soon. And so when it comes down to it, he should have gone in with everybody else, gotten some racing fuel, topped it off, and then he would have been good for the remainder of this race. The only foreseeable thing I can think of is either A, he isn't paying attention to that, or B, he thinks there's going to be such a significant amount of cautions as this race goes on that people are going to have to make another pit stop for fuel. But as of right now, I mean, I don't really see a benefit to staying out whatsoever, and so it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens. But right now, the cars, they're getting double filed right back up behind that pace car to get ready to go racing again. Champion on the high side above that number 61 of Thiel, and so we'll see how this one turns out.
We certainly will see how this one does shake out, of course, and Coop apparently thinks 61 can make it. Actually, with the number of caution laps we've had, it's plausible, mathematically possible, so Mike Thiel might be good on fuel here. That could be a huge one for him, but we'll have to see exactly how that does run. Of course, one of the downsides, of course, Ted, is that you're actually faster running higher fuel on the super speedways because the spoiler is, the tank, of course, is in the back of the car. The spoiler is in the back of the car, and when you have fuel in that tank, it's heavier, the suspension is lower, the spoiler is out of the air, you go faster.
With this new news that Coop has given us, the insider information, then this might turn out to be a pretty exciting race and a pretty amazing move by Thiel. I take my comments back, and I reserve them until the end of the race.
Well, that'll make for an interesting run to the end of this thing. As we get ready to go back to green flag, Mike Thiel leading the way here at Daytona 07. Gary Champion on the outside, and the green flag is waved. We're back under race conditions. Basili the third on the low side, pushing hard to Mike Thiel. Hedrick below him. Rod Flag on the outside to work his way back up towards the front. Great for him, of course. Started in fifth place. He's currently fourth place, running in fifth now. Almost back to where he started after a really bad start where he was laps down, actually. Issues possibly for him, though, right now is, oh, the issues, of course, bigger ones. And we have another caution. So Rod Flag's connection issues there seem to have derped Glenn Hedrick and tipped Bazzini, which caused absolute carnage, and we're going to have an even smaller field now as, once again, we're back under caution. Replay should be shown for you there. Pretty self-explanatory.
Same issues he was having at the beginning of this race. Rod Flag, at the beginning of the race, right at the drop of the green flag, actually, started having a couple of issues, had to jump to the high side, lost all of his room, fell all the way back to the back. Once again, those issues have plagued him yet again, as well as plagued other drivers as another caution has come out because of it. Just immensely frustrating, probably not only for Flag, but for the other drivers involved in that accident.
Oh, absolutely, and one of those situations they'll have to handle, unfortunately, in this race is that these things happen, and they will have to find a solution to that and get themselves further forwards. And yeah, I'm actually surprised that we've gone yellow, 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 because this thing was so clean at the start, and now it's just, boom, we've had problems.
Also, at the start, you got to remember that we had a lot of, I wouldn't want to say vets, but a lot of people up front who we always seem to see up front, and now we have, as it keeps going on, we have a lot of drivers that we haven't really talked about at all tonight up there at the front, and they're just trying to get this win, and I think maybe the excitement and the nerves are getting to them, coupled with this very difficult Circa 07 track. However, it's been a couple cautions since we last talked about this, but old Rodney Wolford might get his lap back. He is the first on behind laps, a lap down. He's one lap down. Right after him is Andrew Berger, who's 3 laps down. So Rodney Wolford, that number 3 car, might actually get his lap back and be back on the lead lap to finish this race.
That'd be huge for him, and that could mean he has a chance to win this thing. So, of course, Rod Flag, someone has pointed out, you need to stop watching Netflix and actually pay attention to the race. Yep, that would be a good piece of advice for him, but poor old Rod not having his day, of course. And, well, see, this is one of those situations, of course, that we can't really blame the drivers for these situations. A couple of these incidents have been netcode related, and this track is incredibly bumpy, so you can't really say they're bad drivers, because this is an impressive run at Daytona 07 considering how uneven this track is. Your car is moving all over the place under power here, of course, Ted, and it's tough. It's really tough to race here too wide most of the time. That's hard work, but this track is eating him up and spitting him out. The first half was amazing. The second half has been marred by a few problems, but nothing out of the ordinary.
I mean, to be dealing with internet issues and blinking and everything like that, and having to drive on this very difficult and bumpy track, I do not envy Rod Flag. I'll say that right now. Just a heck of a time probably trying to keep control of that car, and it just didn't work out that time around. And so it'll be interesting to see how the remainder of this race goes. Maybe with now that we're going on to lap 79 right now, maybe we'll stay caution free. Hopefully get some good green laps in there. But just waved around by the pace car, getting back onto the lead lap is a good old Rodney Walford. So that number 3 car back on the lead lap. We'll see if he can make his way up to the front and contend for a win. And what a great story that would end up being after dealing with such a such a drag at the beginning of this race.
Absolutely, and well, we'll have to find out how this does go forwards for us as this race progresses, but it's a difficult situation for them to be in now in terms of the laps remaining, as we are coming closer. But how do you play this? How does this run to the end of the race for us? Because we're now in a situation where the time's getting very, very slim, and who puts who where?
Well, at this point, with laps winding down, you need to start looking around yourself and figuring out who's been up there at the front this entire time, who's avoided being in these wrecks, and who's been clean when it comes to pushing and moving throughout the field. Because right now is the moment that you want to try to find somebody to work with. Now, we're not talking about a teammate. We're not talking about a partner. We're not talking about a friend. We're talking about a work relationship, somebody that you can work with to get up there to the front. Because when that white flag comes out, there are no friends. There are no teammates. You're going to go for that win. However, these drivers understand that they're going to need to work together in some way, shape, or form to get up to the front. And so it's going to be interesting to see who ends up teaming up with who. With about 10, 15 laps to go, that's when you'll start realizing really quick who's going to be going for it. But I mean, a 10-lap shootout we have coming up. That's, I mean, this is going to be one heck of a finish here. Hopefully we can stay green for all 10 of these laps coming up. But man, this has been one heck of a race, Rachel. So this is going to be insane.
It certainly is going to be one heck of a race. I'm looking forward to seeing exactly what this does for us, because this has been impressive. Out front still, Mike Field has fuel to make it to the end, we think. Champion, Basilio, written out the second. Corey Smith, Scott Warren, Seth the Merchant, Justin Levine, Michael Cozy Jr. and Jake Champion in the top 10. Right now, the list of drivers going down a lap. Jason Altman's is out. Oh, sorry, Andrew Berger's out. Jason Altman's out. Mark Jorgensen Jr., Daniel Osborne, Chris Patton, Daniel Holloway, Richard Reagan Jr., and Bentley Glasser. So this field really thinned out. 28 cars left running in this race. Could the underdog win? Could Mike Field come forwards here? A guy who's had some terrible luck in previous seasons, ended up dropped at the back of fields. Could he win a race this season and lock himself in? That'd be a fairy tale story for Mike Field.
Every time I try to make a pick on who's going to win, or I give any glimmer of hope for a driver, They end up getting wrecked. So I'm gonna reserve my my pick and who I want to win, and just try to enjoy this 10-lap heart attack that's about to happen.
Well, prepare yourselves, folks at home, because 10 laps of green flag racing starts now. And it's a tough start to call here as DeMerchant with damage on his car can't push the 10 of Corey Smith. Inside line makes a good run here. Field is clear. Does he pull up in front of the 18 and secure his spot here? That would be the call I'd make. 94 pushes hard, but is it going to last? That's the question. Do they pull them both out in front? Do they both move up? 18 moves down. Does that seal the fate for the outside? The 4, the 76, and the 87. 18 comes back. They're going to go for another run here. This could be exciting.
This is definitely going to be exciting because Champion jumped back right up to the outside. He saw that outside line making its move, and he wants to be a part of it. He wants to get around to the front, past Thiel, and it looks like Champion might actually do it. He's being pushed right now by, I think that's Rittenor. Yep, that's Rittenor and the number 76, Warren. And, oh, 57 just got spin. DeMerchant just got spin into the trioval.
And the caution flag flies once again. Lap 82, we're going to go back into caution here for a few laps, and we'll get this thing sorted back out once again. And Seth DeMerchant there, well, squeezed out a line. Pushed by Cozy Jr. Round he goes. This time he doesn't manage to save it, comes back up in the field and pounds Dan Harrington. I believe everyone else, no, unfortunately, Cram did not make it. Everyone else just about did. Rod Flag unfortunately caught a piece of that. Well, back into caution. We'll be coming back with a few laps to go, so we are going to go for a very short commercial break here, folks, whilst we get this rejigged, work out our running orders, and we'll be back live for the final few laps in this race, and they're not going to be laps you want to miss. Talk to you soon.
Hi guys, Scott Speed here, welcoming you to the Volkswagen.
When I was 16 years old, I was working at a Goodyear tire store, and my boss actually built an old dirt car, street stock Monte Carlo. Went with him one night, fell in love with it. It was a hell of a race, hell of a party, and a big fight afterwards. I was like, this is it. This is it for me. It wasn't long after that, I was driving an old 78 Camaro out of the weeds at that guy's farm. We pulled that thing out and made a race car out of it, and away we went. You know, I think a driver has more to do with the equation going back and racing dirt, whether it's a modified, a late model. You can do more with the race car. You know, the harder you drive it, a lot of times, the better it goes. You can crawl up on that wheel and feel like you made the difference at the end of the night. Asphalt car, you can't overdrive them. Well, that was the first thing that I had to learn right off the bat is, oh my gosh, I've got to discipline myself, not overdrive this thing, and that's how you get the most out of it. Truth be told, communicating the right information to your crew and your crew chief so they can do their job and make their appropriate adjustments for you to go faster and do your job is probably 90% of the game in our world. I've always loved late models. You know, my dream was to be a late model driver driving for a living across the country like Daryl and Don do that drive for me. I mean, that was, truth be told, that was my dream, you know. I always wanted a semi. I always wanted a stacker trailer with 2 hot rods in it, and let's go racing. Let's take off with your buddies and go race and chase that dream. Never in a million years did I think it would turn into a Cup Series, and I actually have an opportunity to own 2 you know, dirt late model teams. When you think of iRacing, you don't think of a video game. It's not. It's way above and beyond any of that. You know, dirt racing changes so much. The track changes so much. Being able to capture that, to, you know, experience all those details that surround dirt racing and make dirt racing what it is what makes iRacing so cool, because they did nail all of that. I knew when they came to our shop and scanned cars and went to the detail of getting that car right, I knew that it was going to be over the top. because it blew my mind just the work that went into making sure the car itself was legit. This sport has been around a long time. The competition can't be replaced, and that's what brings people back to the racetrack week in and week out.
I actually, really enjoy dirt racing. Feels good to get in the car, and we have, great cars and engines and things at KKR, so it's nice to drive a fast sprint car.
Couple of separate lines developing. Three wide action on a turn two. Craig Kitzer, Casey Kane, and Kieran Pittman go get it.
I think the differences between, NASCAR and the sprint races on dirt is just a much different mindset. The way you drive your cars, the setup, the feel you're looking for. I think one of the hardest things to tell as a fan is when you're watching a race, whether it's a NASCAR race, a dirt race, is just what's really going on in the car. With iRacing, you can get the way that the track's changing, which they've done a great job in how the track changes throughout the night or throughout the race, just to try to capture it and let the fans play it and realize, like, man, there's actually a lot going on, and you can't always see that when you watch a race. So I think it's pretty neat. It's, enjoyable for me, but at the end of the day, it's actually much of a simulation, and there's a lot of ways that you can learn from that. And early on, it was neat to look at the Cup tracks that I was going to, places that I had never been. So I think it kind of gives you a head start leading into a weekend. It's pretty real life, and that's pretty neat.
Only 4 laps remaining in this thing. 4 laps this time by the line, and it's going to be decided. So it's not green, white, checker, it's like a green, white, checker, green, white, checker. We have double green, white, checker, which means double the jeopardy. 4 laps for him to go up to speed, 4 laps for him to cause carnage. Yellow flag comes out now. This is done. Mike Steele's unfortunately off the front row, but, well, off the first place, I should say. He's on the front row still, but can Brasilia get him to the front? Brasilia's been fast on the outside, is strong. And they've got some fast cars on the outside, of course. They have Harry Tiller, Cozy Jr., Corey Smith. The 25 car is up there as well, Kyle Manger. And Preet, very strong outside line inside. Not quite as potent, but we'll see how this plays out. Don't forget, Wofford is back on the lead lap. He's up in 15th place from being 4 laps down after a disconnect. So we'll see how this one runs to the end for us. What was going to be the fastest race we've had on schedule turns out to be a normal length one, of course, with the shenanigans we've just seen in the second half. But this is it. 4 laps now to the end of the race, and we'll see how this thing pans out. Pace car pulls off for hopefully the last time. Green flag will fly once again, and we're back racing. We nearly had a wreck there in the triangle, but they keep it going, and Champion gets a big run, but it might be a bad thing for him because he's broken the draft on the inside. As they go 3 wide there, Smith goes up to the top line for some reason, as it's Brasilia, Brasilia and Thiel on the high side. Can they make it forwards? They're pushing hard. No real cars behind them to help. That could be a problem. Will Cozy Jr. see the outside as an opportunity to go forwards? Will he push out and help them? He does. He gets with Tiller. Tiller and Cozy going to make their way forwards now if they can. As Thiel holds on to a dream at the front. Can he stay in this thing? Will Gary Champion be our champion of Daytona 07? Or can we get now the second come through and take this thing? Could it be Scott Warren? Could it be Justin Levine? Could it be any of these guys? We're dropping back to single file racing here as there'll be 3 laps remaining here, and look at this big move by Rittenhouse second, sensing opportunity, but all of these guys are hungry for a win. All of them want to take the opportunity now and want a chance at victory here at Daytona. Can they get it done? There are not many laps left to do it in, and we'll have just 2 laps this time by the stripe. Don't wreck again, boys. We want to run this to the end. As Thiel moves up and down, trying to find a gap. He can't find it. Cozy pushes Rittenhouse. Can they get back to the front here? He turns him. Problems. Caution will fly. Win goes to Gary Champion here. As what a race that was. And unfortunately, it does end with a caution, right as I say don't. And it was a typical one we've seen so many times, Ted, where the guy just pushing a little too hard. And it was Cozy again pushing too hard in the corner. He's pushed people in the corners multiple times tonight and kind of caused these things as he tips the car of Rittenhouse second across the front of Thiel, crushing his dreams and his race car in one. And that's our race.
A lot of pushing going into turns tonight, and every single one of them has led to a caution. Big upset here for me is Mike Thiel. I was hoping he could get the great upset win tonight, but he was collected in that wreck. Doesn't even have a hood on his car anymore. But Gary Champion, he held on to it, and he was up there in the front when that caution came out. Scott Warren, he was making a huge run to that outside in that 76 car. If that caution had come out just a couple of seconds afterwards, he might have been able to get Gary on that. But as it stands, Gary Champion, the winner tonight here at Daytona circa 07.
Certainly is, and unfortunately that is the end of our race. It'll end under the pace car as they'll go back round one more time in this thing, and well, it's going to be an easy run to victory for Champion, a place he's not been in quite a while, but it locks him into the playoffs, of course, should he stay in the top 35 in points. And wow, this has definitely changed things up from what we expected. 3 newcomers to the podium in recent seasons: Champion, Warren, and Levine, your top 3. Basili the third narrowly missed it. Cozy Jr. just missed out, of course, but a little too eager on the bumper, of course.
Well, it started off pretty tame tonight here at Daytona, and it ended in absolute chaos as the night continued on for us. But Gary Champion comes out on top. He was a big competitor throughout the second half of this race, was always up there in the front, dodged a couple of major accidents, and came out victorious. Good race all in all. Had a great time with you tonight, Rachel. This was very fun.
Certainly was fun indeed, and that was probably the most interesting race we've had here, of course, in this one, but that was a definite change for us from what we've seen so far. And you know what? I still think that was a fantastic race.
And as these cars come around this track, turns 3 and 4, single file line, swerving back and forth, it looks like the wounded warriors making their way to the start finish line, the happy few that came out unscathed from accidents, the few that remain after all of these accidents, coupled without even hoods on their cars. It was an absolute demolition derby out there tonight. And so a lot of these drivers should just, you know, be happy and feel confident and happy that they made it even through tonight. A lot of big names got taken out, paving the way for names like Gary Champion, Scott Warren, Justin Levine to be able to win. And Champion down there in the grass doing his victory donuts, happy as can be that he won. He's very happy. Great job to Gary Champion tonight. Great job to Scott Warren and Justin Levine for making that podium. Great job. Good race.
Yeah, it certainly was a fantastic run for them there as they bring it home today after what was probably one of the more intense runs we've seen in this, but they did it all the same. And we'll have a chance to talk to your drivers now after we go through our post-race results. Results now. Gary Champion with the win. Scott Warren and Justin Levine second and third. As Frank was the third. Michael Cozy Jr., Harry Tiller, Mike Thiel, Kyle Manger, Corey Smith, and Rodney Wofford makes it back to the top 10.
Ronnie Wofford was the top 10. Spencer Preet 11th, Robbie Lyons 12th, TJ Buck 13th, Glenn Hedrick 14th, and Jake Champion rounding out your top 15 for tonight.
16th place tonight, Lucas Graham with Austin Coop, Travis Brown, Sean McCarrick, Dan Harrington in 20th.
Yunkins in 21st, Rittenor the second in 22nd, Piccolella in 23rd, Rod Flagg in 24th, and Chris Bassini 25th.
26th place tonight will be Seth the Merchant, Andrew Berger, Ramon Evans, Ricky Wall, and Jason Altmans, with our final runners tonight, Mark Johnson Jr., Daniel Osborne, Chris Payton, Daniel Holloway, Richard Reagan Jr., and Bentley Glasser in 36th. Well, we're going to go to a quick commercial break. Stay with us, because after this we will have the chats with our 3 top finishers, so stay tuned.
driving the number 20 JGR Toyota Xfinity car this weekend. Really great opportunity here at New Hampshire at my home track. Over the past few weeks, I've been on iRacing, practicing a little bit here and there with the modified and the NASCAR Xfinity car, so it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great tool for me to kind of get used to that stock car body again and be prepared for the race today. Well, yeah, it's a mile long, so the draft kind of plays into effect here with the modifieds, punches a big hole in the air, and we run restrictor plates. So it makes a big difference. Just really fast, and it's our Daytona. So that's what's great about it, and we have a fast car for tomorrow. I think the biggest thing is they're heavier cars. The tire's a lot different, and the way you go about setting them up is a lot different. They use all 4 tires more than a modified, where we typically drive off the right rear, you know, so. Well, actually, it's funny. I raced NASCAR race in 2003 before iRacing came about. And then when iRacing came about, my friend Kevin Iannarelli, who works at iRacing, kind of told me, hey man, you need to switch over to this. And when I did, I was like, oh my God, this is like real life. So I started using it as a tool of mine to really prepare for modified races, whether it was Stafford or Thompson or Loudon, Bristol. And then obviously the Xfinity Series last year, going to road courses, trying to get laps, and use it as a tool that can get me as prepared as I could be without actually doing it. So it's been great.
Welcome back to post-race coverage here at Daytona for the Superspeedway Cup Series, brought to you by Sunwest Construction. Well, we now have the opportunity, of course, to talk to your race winner tonight, and a previous champion in the series, but has had some pretty tough luck of the last couple of seasons, Gary Champion. Welcome back to Victory Lane.
Yeah, thank you. That was a very good race, a lucky race. Missed all the good wrecks, and just everything went my way.
Well, some say it's luck, and at Superspeedways, some say it actually requires a certain large amount of talent to manage this one. So regardless of how it happened, it still happened, and that's what's important, of course. And it was close at the end. Yourself, of course, and Justin, and it was, I believe it was Mike Field, looked like it was very close between the two of you on who would actually have the opportunity. But at the end, you pulled it clear, and that final wreck sealed things for you.
Yes, it did. And that was my teammates right behind me, second and third, Justin and Scott. It worked out good. We worked together. It was a great race.
It absolutely was. Well, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to, Gary?
I always want to thank first and foremost my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Want to definitely thank LSRTV and Rod. If it wasn't for Rod, we wouldn't have this. Best league around, and a lot of great races here. A lot of talent. If you win one here, you got to really be proud of yourself, because there's some great talent in this field here.
There certainly is. Well, thanks for joining us, Gary Champion, winner today at Daytona 07 in round number 3.
Thank you.
Next up, Scott Warren standing by here with Ted trackside. Here we go on pit lane. Ted.
Scott, how you doing, man?
Mr. Manning, good to be talking to you.
Good to be talking to you as well. Absolutely insane race. It was pretty tame there in the beginning. Not a whole lot of stuff happening, but as soon as that second half started, all heck broke loose. How were you feeling towards the end there with all those cautions just piling up around you?
Oh, pretty much like the luckiest man on the planet. I'm going to tell you that right now, because that first round of pit stops was an absolute abomination. Easily the worst round of pit stops I've done in the sim. Thank you, iRacing. But yeah, had some trouble on entry there. Lost my quick repair, and that was early on in the race. That was the first stint. So needless to say, coming back to those last few cautions at the end of the race was that was a big win for our room, and as it turned out for Gary and myself and Justin. It was great. Felt great to be lucky for once.
Now, it didn't get a chance to get down to that final lap and racing for the win, and I know that you and Gary and Justin are all teammates and friends and everything, but if it came down to it, were you going to make that move?
Oh, we had a lot of fun with Gary after the caution flew. We were telling him exactly what we were going to do. Justin was going to take it 3 wide, that's how that was going to go. If I saw him go 3 wide, I was going to dive back down behind Gary and push him around to get that lead back on Justin. Would have been a drag race for the official This Is War, Facebook.com official This Is War 76 and the 18 coming to the checker flag. But it was a pretty great feeling to see that yellow fly and to hear that sort of that joy in Gary's voice getting that win. I guess it's been a while, and it's nice to be a part of the top 3 and chatting with you kind folk on LSRTV.
Yeah, you did absolutely great. It was one heck of a race, and you survived, and that's the thing that really matters. You got anything to say to anybody out there? Any shout-outs you want to make?
Absolutely. Want to thank my girl Carrie. She watches every week. She's a big fan, big supporter. I want to thank my band, This Is War, for letting me run the logo on the car every week. And big fan of LSRTV and big fan of the guys that I run with every week. The Jorgensens, the Windvow guys, Seth, all these guys. It's a privilege to be racing in this league. I want to thank Rod for putting it on every week and putting up with what he sees every week. And we had some iRacing issues this week as well. But we navigated that. We got a nice, entertaining race, and I hope the fans watching the stream enjoyed it just as much as we did from the cockpits.
Congratulations, Scott. You did absolutely great.
10-4. Thank you, sir. We'll be back.
Well, thanks to Ted there and Scott Warren. Next up, we have, of course, Justin Devine, who came home today in the 3rd spot and 3rd of the teammates to score a triple here. Justin, how does it feel? 3rd place.
Oh, it feels great. You know, for once actually finishing good, feels great.
I mean, that was a very tough race for you guys, of course, and things were pretty turbulent throughout that pack. And the first half was tame, but the second half was wild here at Daytona 07.
Yeah, I got lucky. I was actually in front of most of the wrecks once I got involved with that wreck on lap 56, I think. That was it. Everything was either way behind me or it was like 2 or 3 spots away.
Of course, that made for a decent result for you, or a great result, I should say, for you and your teammates, and
yes,
certainly great points, of course, going forwards.
Yeah, that would definitely help. I had a bad start to the year, but making it up.
You certainly are. Well, anybody like to give a shout out to you, Justin?
You guys do such an awesome job. I love watching you guys, even if it's not Super Speedway Cup. My teammates and Rod for always putting this on for us.
Well, there you go. Thanks for joining us, Justin Devine, and 3rd place for you tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Well, Ted, any final thoughts? Because this was one heck of a race.
I don't know. The fact that this made us speechless at some point, right? The fact that the end of stage 1 left us speechless and craving the second half, which did not let us down whatsoever. Great finish. I mean, you cannot ask for anything more in sim racing, and I'm glad I was able to witness it tonight here with you and with LSRTV, and I'm glad that everybody, all of our fans watching it out there right now, enjoyed it just as much as I think we did. So thank you to all our fans out there. Appreciate the support, and I can't wait to see y'all next week.
Absolutely. And with that, folks, we'll see you back at, I believe, proper Daytona, same time next week. So thanks for watching the Super Speedway Cup Series, brought to you by Sunwest Construction. We've been LSRTV. I've been Rachel, and this has been Ted. Thanks for watching, and good night.